It's Time Warner Cable's local edition. I'm Brad Pomerantz. We are joined by Tamiko Chacon. She is a pastor, and she is the director of TraffickFree Pomona. I can't believe we have to talk about this in 2014, but human trafficking continues to be a problem, and even in a beautiful, well-heeled community like Pomona. What's going on, Tamiko?
Yeah. Well, in fact, there's more slaves today than ever before in our nation's history. So,
What does that mean?
well, there's about 27 million people around the world that are enslaved. And we estimate that there are about 17,000 people trafficked into the United States every year. But the forms of trafficking we see most commonly in our city and in the community is what we call commercial sexual exploitation of children. So sex trafficking, minors, teenagers.
What's stunning to me, and I recently learned this, is, of course, like you said, there's trafficking into the country, but a lot of, we'll call them slaves, domestic.
Yes.
These
absolutely.
are just girls from next door.
Yes.
You know, that fell on hard times, maybe runaways from another state, came to Southern California because it's sunny and beautiful and
Yes.
Hollywood dream.
Yes.
And they wind up.
Yeah, the prey of pimps and traffickers. They say runaways, the average runaway is approached by a pimp within 24 hours of running away. So traffickers prey upon vulnerable youth.
And what happens when they are sucked into this vortex?
Well, they virtually become a slave. Their bodies are not their own, and they're sold for commercial sex on our city streets.
And what can be so difficult, and I was thrilled to learn that recently the Los Angeles County District Attorney is changing the way they approach the, I mean, you know, these girls are called prostitutes. And they can be charged as prostitutes, but now Jackie Lacey, the DA, is defining them as victims.
Absolutely.
Talk to us about that change.
Yeah. So it's a huge difference in the training of law enforcement, the training of the district attorney's office, and nonprofit groups such as ourselves play a role in that, and that we're able to provide what we call a freedom bag for survivors.
Tell us.
And so this is a bag. It's kind of an emergency response kit, everything you would need if you've been rescued from a slave-like situation, and volunteers put these bags together. We've actually seen, we've given out more bags since January than we did all of last year, and I think that's due to
terrible.
More victims.
I hate to say that. That's terrible news.
Yes, it's
Right.
terrible, but in a way,
it's
good
it's great
because now we're seeing more victims being identified.
Talk to us about what you see in the eyes of these girls as you look at them, as you interact with them, as you save them.
Well, most victims were abused as a child, so their victimization began many, many years ago, and that's why traffickers prey upon vulnerable youth. Is there's a history of sexual abuse, a history of violence, and so it takes a long time for them to recover and be restored. But we certainly believe they can be completely restored as individuals.
Talk to us about that. Need to build self-esteem, because that, in the final analysis, I think becomes the most important virtue.
Absolutely, yes. I mean, that's our motivation,
Right.
is to help bring about their true identity, that it is not in what someone has told them they are, it is not in what someone has made them or objectified them, but that they are beautiful, beautiful creatures that God's created.
If you want to get involved, can we go to the website?
Yes, TraffickFreePomona.org.
And there are definitely volunteer opportunities.
Absolutely.
No doubt. There's
Yes.
also a Facebook page,
Yes.
TraffickFree Pomona. Thank you for what you're doing. This community is so lucky to have someone like Tamiko Chacon, who is with TraffickFree Pomona, director, and she's also at the Pomona First Baptist Church. My name is Brad Pomerantz, and this is Time Warner Cable's Local Edition.